out as I come through. Busting in your line, cracking helmets in. I bring the pain, so what you gon' do? Stand there and just get shook out ya. So clean out your locker, I'm out to get ya. Cause I just popped ya. You can't take the pressure. You might as well quit cause you just can't last. Madden 2000, put your face in the grass.
Austin Safarian-Jenkins, the first touchdown of Jameis Winston's career.
And your pride in the dirt, so put on a skirt. If you come on the field and don't wanna get hurt, just bruised and beaten, all black and blue. And it's been like that since Madden 92.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Buccaneer Blake Sports with your host, Buccaneer Blake. You know, this week was one of my favorite weeks, unlike last week. We played Dallas and we played Philly. Yeah, buddy.
You like that? You like that?
What the hell was that? Kirk Cousins, what the hell are you doing in my house? Screaming and shit. I mean, yes, I do like that, if you're asking. Thank you. Bucs win in Philly in an honorable fashion, 45-17. It wasn't close except for at the beginning of the game. And then kind of ran from there. Winston shredded them like cheese. Holes all in the defense. You get the metaphor I'm trying to do. There was passing lanes everywhere. No matter what the penalties we mustered up on false start and holding penalties, he still managed to converge and put us in the end zone, throwing to 5 different receivers. But first, before I get into all that, I want to say my time from last week, the Bucs helped the brother out, even though I really need it. With only 6 points from Dallas, so that was 3 minutes. I'm gonna post here above the times from last. You'll see 15, but I only owed 3, so I did extra. So I did 15 minutes, but I really only owed 3. This week they scored 17, so I'll do 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, extra minutes on cardio for that. Like I said, that's my dedication to the team. I run like how many points they score, I half it. Bucs win in Philly 45-17, honorable fashion, playing against Mark Sanchez, which people thought he might win the starting job at, which I doubt that happened, but whatever. Winston goes 19 of 29, 246 yards, 5 TDs, and the most important stat of all, more than the yards and the touchdowns, was 0 interceptions. Let me say it again. 0 interceptions. Thank you. Martin had 27 carries, 235 yards rushing. Hell of a day. Couldn't get in the end zone because he busted them big runs, and his legs ran out of gas. And Nolan Carroll, he couldn't cover anybody, but he could chase you down in a straight line. And that's what he did. He stopped Martin from a couple big runs. But I said Winston threw to 5 different receivers. Receivers were Evans, Jackson, Raitt, Sims, Shepard, and even a defender scorer was Levante David. Levante David's second interception of the game. That one, he caught the overthrown screen from Sanchez to Sproles. Sproles had a nice screen pass. I don't think they utilized him enough there, but thankful he's not in New Orleans anymore, where he was be a pain in our ass when he was there. The addition of VJax, changes the whole complexity of the game. What do you mean, Blake, when you say he changes the complexity of the game? The past couple of weeks, I don't know if you noticed, teams could play closer to the box, making it harder for Doug Martin to find run lanes. That's why a lot of those times he has to fight for extra yards, because extra 2-3 yards makes a down from third and 7 to a 3rd and 4. When you say people fall for 3 extra yards, those are all important. Every yard, every step, every moment matters in the game, just like Al Pacino just said. Every moment, every second.
I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
It all adds up. Because that 3 extra yards makes a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 4, or a 3rd and 3, or even a 3rd and 2. You got a 3rd short. Virtually, your offense is open to more plays, and even play actions, or even a run play. Given if your safeties are 2 safeties high, that means you got more running lanes. Maybe your lineman can get up to the 2nd level and block Kendricks Kendricks and D'Amico Ryans and those guys. They created bigger run lanes for him. Thank God they weren't in those run lanes today. Malcolm Jenkins missed was a weak tackle that he tried to pull on Doug Martin with that big run he had from the 20-yard line. Thankful that he couldn't wrap up. That's why you got to wrap the little muscle hamster up or the Duggernaut up, because that'll happen to you. Coverage. Let me just finish up what I was saying. It changes everything. Now you have to honor V-Jax and Mike Evans on the other side, which you have to put safeties back. Now, unless you're going to blitz, you roll the safety up to help cover underneath the tight end or the slot dragging across the backside. That's where Jameis comes in and he finds the mismatches, and you do the audibles or slide protection or whatever the case may be, whatever they got called. But that's why you see a lot of lines. But the game doesn't emphasize that when you watch it. I try to look at much of the game as I can. You try to see where the coverage is, and you try to see what Jameis Winston, so your quarterback, sees, and you see the audibles that he makes. But that's the intricate part of having Jackson out there. That's why I keep emphasizing that Charles Sims was an intricate part of this offense. You saw the touchdown that he had with two defenders on him. I told you guys, I've said it repeatedly several times, that Charles Sims as a we touch barely but a fraction of the talent that he has. And you saw it. He can literally play wideout. You saw him went up there and caught it with his hands. He can play wideout. Adam Humphries is coming through. I've said that too as my preseason player breakout. I already knew about Sims from the prior year. He just got injured. Humphries was another one. The underneath routes, making big catches on third downs. That's what we need. And now you get ASJ back, and maybe Cameron Brake sticks around. You maybe got a nice duo of tight end here. Cameron Brake's finding a way. He's figuring out coverages and finding a way to beat people. That's all we need. It's everybody doing their part. Offensive line, you keep doing your job. You keep making the things I say right, and they're important. Like I said, we just need to get the defensive line pressure a little better. And, in the coverage, like I said, here I go rambling. I go on from one thing to the other, just talking about Chris Sims. The offensive line is doing a great job, and that starts from Jameis Winston having so much time to throw. And the running lanes are open. That's why we can run the ball now. I remember you guys kept saying, "Oh, get rid of Doug Martin. He's finished." Oh, wow. Well, if you don't have a line, you can't run and you can't pass. Now, in the past, when we got rid of Penn and all them, they might not have been that great at pass blocking, but they were good run blockers. Damar Dotson, he's good at both. Granted, I don't know what's going to go on with the right tackle position with him back and Sorellis. We literally have mad depth at the O-line position. I'm not used to that. Hopefully we can get like that at D-line, get some more pressure, get some sacks, and just keep building continuity, because I think a lot of the focus next year is going to start going to defense, unless we can find some other player we can plug in on the offense and work from there. But I think most of the focus will go in on the defense now, because as you can clearly see, the offense is moving. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. Do you guys still believe that we should have drafted Mariota? We should have took Mariota. I hope you fools that were at that game talking that shit to my cousin and saying it's the hardest thing sitting there at those games, listening to these idiots watch these games that don't know anything about anything, and you holler that off of one game. You saw Mariota on the prime time, was it Monday night? He can't move the ball like Jameis Winston can move the ball. Proven fact. Yes, Jameis throws some picks. Who did he throw 4 interceptions to? Oh, the only team in the NFC that's undefeated, the Carolina Panthers. They must be a good team. They're 8-0. Let's just still talk about, even though they're undefeated, let's talk about how Cam Newton dances in the end zone, because that's what's important. We can't dab him on the football field because he's winning. Did I use the word dabbing? And that's his dancing. Let's dab him for that, because we can't dab him because he's winning games and shredding him with Teddy Ginn as his number 1 receiver. Let's not talk about actual football. Let's talk about how he dances after he's doing your team that you're rooting for in. And like I said, I can't be mad at Carolina Panthers and them, even though they're in my division, but they're playing well. And so is our team, and I'm happy to see that going. I'm happy to see I've got to watch Cam Newton be in my division and grow up and become a great quarterback. For you Carolina fans, Freddie, and what's his name that went with us to the game? I can't remember, but I'm talking about you. I've watched him grow up from you guys calling him a bust on draft day to a guy who you guys actually said that he doesn't take the game serious because he smiles all the time. You have to be the stupidest idiots I've ever heard. And how you even got a job being an analyst amazes me. To say that he smiles because he's having a good time with his teammates when his teammates are making plays and you're enjoying it with your team. And to say he doesn't take it seriously because he's smiling and having a good time with the guys on his team. You have to be the dumbest dude ever to say a comment like that, because it's just the part that makes me so angry about it. I'm talking about the Panthers. I'm supposed to be talking about Bucs, because it happens to everybody. It'll happen at Winston too at some point. That the stuff you say on TV, whether it's your personal feelings, these people, these Americans, anybody that believes everything that they see on the television, that's exactly what they go by, is the garbage that you give them. And that's all the information they care about getting. They don't care about they don't care about looking it up, even though you pay $700 for an iPhone and you can't simply look up information and look up stuff yourself. You could talk to your phone, it'll look it up for you because you're so lazy. But let me get back to the thing at Taz. I told you I ramble. They believe anything you tell them. And that's the base of why I created Buccaneer Blake for this, to say my side of things. Because I really am tired of sitting there listening to people say their own personal feelings and sitting here telling you as if it's real, as if it's a fact, when it's nothing more than an opinion. Granted, that's your job. You go on there and you say your opinions, but there's a fine line of telling people things that you believe that's not true and things that are actually true and saying it to them. But you won't do that. You'll say things that aren't true and like to throw salt on people's characters or things like that. Now, I'm sorry. I got started rambling on. Where was I? I talked about V. Jackson, the coverage, and opening up running lanes for Doug Martin. It speaks for itself. You saw the score today. Granted, the 45 came from Levante David running in the pick six for a touchdown. Let me address some things, like I said, what media said. David Deal. I hope you're watching. David Deal. You were on broadcast today. You look sharp today, by the way. You had a nice little outfit, the tie and everything. You look good. I said, I'm not one of those guys that are going to bash and say all type of curse words. I'm just going to say what you should have said. The Eagles you said the Eagles had us checked as a win. Good for them. I don't care what you got checked. But then you're under your next statement, you'll say you never take any win for granted in the league. So stop mentioning that they had this as a win, had this game as a win checked, especially with a team that's up and coming. I don't care what they got checked. I can check every game. Every week, if our schedule comes, I'll be 16-0 because I got all games as a win. But what the fact of the matter is, you deal with the cards that you dealt with. You came out there and you got embarrassed at home. That's what you should be saying. They got embarrassed at home. 45-17. They ain't let somebody win. They got blown out. They got embarrassed. It wasn't even close. What, you going to say just Doug Martin ran on them? No, we threw the ball too. Hell, probably if Doug Martin wanted to throw a pass, he could have threw a touchdown pass too. It didn't make a difference. They got blown out today. And like I said, I don't like the Eagles, but I'm not just going to talk about them like they're trash and all that. They're going through their things, but they got beat. Now, if they'd have lost, they'd be like, oh, yeah, the Eagles had this as a win. And you'd be saying, blase, Jameis Winston's this, that's, and the third, crab legs, or whatever. They got beat. They got embarrassed. That's what you should have said. They got embarrassed at home. They didn't stand a chance. They fans left the game in the third quarter. That's what happened to them. Say that. They got embarrassed, beat up, punched in the mouth, and fell on their ass, and didn't get back up. KO. That's what happened. Not, oh, they let it slip by. They let it slip by, and they let us get a win. That's not what happened. They ain't let nothing. We took it from them. Straight up took it. We took your cookies.
I'm a bankhead. I take your cookies.
And you ain't getting them back because I ate them. Sorry. Now, I told you I'd give you guys some emotion, right? You gonna get it. Here's another one. I posted it to Jameis Winston before the season started because it was an interesting article I read. Yes, I'm black. I read articles. I don't just look at photos. I actually read stuff. People type these stuff and I read it. Some of it, it's boring because they ramble on and they don't really talk about much. Then the base of why they make their opinion, just like I do sometimes. So I'm sorry I ramble sometimes. But let me get to the point. A man said a while ago for the preseason, I guess a black QB hater. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys that believe everything's conspiracy against black people, but the world really don't like black QBs too much. They don't believe in them too much. I mean, I guess you could say stats don't lie. Not too many have won the Super Bowl. Only one's won as a head coach has won a Super Bowl. You can say whatever you want. If that's the way you want to point it out. You have stats that back that. But if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. It doesn't hurt my feelings. The band said, don't expect the Buccaneers to get back to 500 with Smith as the head coach. He would say we weren't going to get to 500. What is our record? We're 500. 5-5. The fives all match up, don't they? 5-5, 500. And let me read you a quote exactly from this man. Don't expect the Bucs to get to 500 with Lovie Smith as head coach. By Martin Fennelly. Martin Fennelly. Look him up. Martin Fennelly. Just type in there and say predict Winston throws 30 interceptions. It'll come up with his post under there. By Martin Fennelly. Mr. Martin. From the Tribune staff. Quote. Your words, not mine. When they close the book on Lovie Smith, when they close the book on Lovie Smith's return, and they will, this is how he's talking, when they close the book on Lovie Smith, and they will, and they should write the book. The book should be written in blood. Which he meant, it's a lot. It's a longer article, but I thought that part was intricate the way I was going to say. It should be written in blood, meaning Lovie Smith, your whole thing here was a sham. They said you only won a couple games since you've been here. You ain't going to succeed in anything you do here. And you as head coaches, like hiring, I don't know. I can't think of a really bad head coach, but just not a very good head coach. What's his name? That drafted Tim Tebow, shredded the team. Yeah, I'll say Chip Kelly right now. I don't think he's a good coach. He destroyed that Philadelphia team. And a lot of people I know that are Philly fans, I've said you this, he destroyed your team. He took everybody out that you loved and brought in guys that he loved because they're not a Chip Kelly guy.
For Chip Kelly guys. Well, maybe, just maybe, Chip Kelly isn't a Philadelphia guy, and we should get rid of you.
Martin Fennelly. That's what he believes. Lovie Smith. You ain't ever going to achieve nothing here. Let's see if he writes anything else. I'm going to try to find some more stuff that he writes, or he's going to hide in the dark. Because that's usually what people do when they're wrong. I'll tell you when I'm wrong about something. If I was wrong, I'll say I was wrong. My prediction was wrong. I'll say it. Here's another one I wanted to point out. I pointed this to Jameis Winston as well. I said Mark Cook on June 30th predicted Winston to throw 30 interceptions. That's it. He predicted Winston would throw 30 interceptions. He even compared it to when we drafted Vinny Testaverde. If you guys didn't know that, we drafted Vinny Testaverde many years back as our number one overall pick. I believe it was in the year where we went 0-14. I think that was the next season after that. If I'm wrong, then you can post it up, tell me when it was. But I believe that's when it happened, when we got the number one overall pick. We were bad for a couple of years. We had a couple of players. Like I said, we had Bo Jackson. He didn't want to come here. We actually drafted Bo Jackson. Yes, don't look at me crazy. We actually drafted Bo Jackson. The rumors had it. People that lived here, stuff I've read, said the prior ownership before, pre-Glazers were racist, and speculations that they didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here, blah, blah, blah. We even had Steve Young at a time. I got Steve Young's poster right back here with him as a Buccaneer. We couldn't keep him here. And you know the story with Doug Williams, which I'm very looking forward to him being put in the Ring of Honor. Like I say, here I go rambling again. But it said Jameis Winston would throw 30 interceptions this season, which he claims we weren't going to win very many games anyway. And you know what I got to say, Mr. Mark Cook? Your opinion is as good as putting a screen door in a submarine. That's how good your opinion is. To just blatantly say he's going to throw 30 picks. Yep. He's going to throw as many good picks as the U.S. Navy is going to put in screen doors and submarines. But, like I said, there's not much I can really say bad and give hard feelings when I've watched my team today come out there and play well, and they're progressing. Not regressing, they're progressing every week. And let me say that the Kirk Cousins loss, the Texans loss, every loss that we've had that's been close, we've came together and we've rallied forward. I don't think people notice that. I think a lot of people just look at wins and losses as wins and losses. In life, when you picked a bad girlfriend or a bad boyfriend, they cheated on you, they did you bad, they didn't give a crap about you, or whatever they are, they beat you up. What did you do after that? Did you stay with them? Did you leave? Did you try to work it out? No matter what that answer to that question is, you learned something from it, right? Whether it was bad, good, or indifferent. You learned something. That much is like in football. That's why you see that quote, football is life. Whether you lost or whether you won, you need to take things from that. And those losses generated into these wins that are coming, these back-to-back wins. Reason I say that is because the Washington game, you saw we had players in there that aren't playing right now. Mike Jenkins. Sorry you're Ed's boy, but you're one of them. Mike Jenkins gave up a lot of plays in that Washington game that led to a demise of us. Granted, he wasn't the only one that put us there, but he gave us some plays, and he gave us some plays prior to that, to playing Carolina and other games. Arthur Werner, giving up plays. He found a way where didn't get pissed off, didn't turn into a little whiny baby. He found where he would fit in at. He's been moving into slot position and been doing very well at it. We took Sterling Moore, the original slot corner that we got from Dallas, and he's played against Odell Beckham and Des Bryant and have been exceeding. We have Jude. I cannot even pronounce your last name, but I'm going to practice because I like to perfect people's names, because you should be called by the name that your parents gave you. Well, that's their last name, so yes, your family name. I'm going to even find out where you're from. I'm going to learn a little bit more. I'm not just going to uneducate myself. I got access to information from the internet. These I'm going to find out and learn a little about you. And tell you I appreciate the hard work you're doing out there on the field, much like you, Sterling Moore. Nobody's ever going to talk about you. This is why I'm here. Nobody's going to mention your name, Sterling Moore. Nobody. You're playing well. Keep playing well, and I hope you see this. Keep balling. ASJ, please come back so I can praise on how I know you're going to do what you do, just like you did at Washington. Doug Martin, keep doing your thing. Ali Marpet, please come back from injury. Thank you, Evan Dietrich Smith. I know my relationship with you hasn't been well because you did me dirty a lot by giving up plays sometime and snapping the ball, and there's no quarterback there. We've had our rough times with this team, and you're coming around, and Joe Haley coming over, and Dirk Cutter, to Jameis Winston, to Vincent Jackson, to Lewis Murphy. I know you're injured. You're a hometown boy too, John's boy. I'm glad that you came and you contributed to this team as well. Kenny Bell, get well. The progression of this team and just having a franchise quarterback, I waited a long time for this moment, a very long time, and we finally got our franchise QB. Granted, I just don't want to put everything in there and say, that's it, stick a fork in it, because I had the same feeling with Josh Freeman, which I think Freeman should have got a little bit more credit because he had a lot less talent and won 10 games, which should have been 11. We've had this conversation already, but Winston excels with less. We don't have our full offense capacity. We've had most of it now, but we've never had our full offense capacity for a while, and he's still been excelling, taking guys off practice squad and playing. Oh, I forgot to mention Russell Shepard had a touchdown today too. Russ sticking with the team from LSU. Special teams beast. Scored a touchdown today. You deserved it. You're another guy you'll never get talked about. Donovan Smith, offensive lineman. Blake, why would you talk about them? Without him, none of this would happen. I said Logan Mankins has helped that man in a way he can't express how much it has. These people who paying all this money, Logan Mankins does this. Logan Mankins is helping that offensive line out and helping Donovan Smith out. Donovan Smith said Logan Mankins has told him things to do stuff, and he has no idea Logan Mankins knows what's going to happen. And he said he's been right 100% of the time when he tells him to do something. Thank you, Logan Mankins. Because the offensive line, if your name ain't getting called for false starts or holding, nobody will notice you. Nobody will notice that you open up holes. Nobody knows that all the best ends play over Donovan Smith. And he's handling business. Rookie from Penn State. He's handling business. Nobody's going to mention that Ali Marpet, the week prior, before injury, was rated the best guard in the league over Mike Iupati. Mike Iupati was number 2. Ali Marpet was rated the number 1 guard in the league. You won't hear that because we rep the Buccaneers. We're uninteresting. We're in a town nobody gives a shit about. We're a team that nobody gives a shit about but us. I told you before, I grew up a Niner fan. I could have stayed a Niner fan. Much more glorious going through that with the Super Bowl wins. I was there for all that. I watched as a kid. Like, again, because that's where I was at, and I went to North Carolina. I really didn't like the Panthers when I lived in North Carolina. I was raised there in Fayetteville. I kind of started liking the Buccaneers. And that's the reason why. Because people don't like them. People don't care for them too much. Well, I always care about them. And I always read stuff about guys that you ain't talking about. Watching the real works of the team. McDouglas playing lights out. Chris Conte playing lights out. He got a pick today too. Sorry I didn't mention you. Along with Levante Davids too. Chris Conte. The team is gelling. And if you're on the fence about this team, or you don't like this team, or you're optimistic about this team, you need to start getting interested, because time's about to start changing here. We got the guy that we needed to get in the draft. This will probably be one of the greatest drafts in Buccaneer history. Maybe we'll have this conversation 10 years from now. I don't know. I can't be right about everything, but I've been right about a lot about this team, because I don't listen to other people's opinions. I base mine off my own. I'll listen to your opinion, absolutely. I'll undermine you or undermine your thoughts, because your thoughts and your input on things are important. That's why I put people on the shows to see their side of things as well. Am I pig-headed and stubborn? Yeah, absolutely, yes I am. But I listen, and I will take what you're saying into consideration, especially if some of it has some validity to it versus your opinion. Sorry. I told you I wasn't going to say and all that stuff anymore, but today was a good win, man. I'm very proud of them. Very proud of them. They've came forward a lot. And I'm just happy to see things that are going in a positive direction with this team. Sorry. Slow and pauses sometimes. Just sitting here thinking. And like I said before, wins and losses, you have to take something even from the day, even from the beating. We need to go back in the shop and work on what did or didn't work. Like I said, everything that happens to you is an experience, and you got to learn from it. like I told you, I've been one to disappear on people and stuff like that I've grown up with and things like that. And you just gotta learn from it and move forward from it. Like I said, I'm just happy with my team winning. Like I said, here I go rambling and having deep thoughts with you guys. Told you I was gonna show more emotion, which I am, and I'm being a little more animated. But thank you guys for watching the show today. I know some of you guys will hit me up tomorrow when I see you. Go Bucs, and end it how we always end it. You the master of everything you do in your life. What you do with it is totally up to you. I'm Mr. Buccaneer Blake himself, reporting out from Tampa Bay. Love you guys and be safe.